Imagine this. You pull your EV into a charging station with almost no battery left. You plug it in, walk inside, grab a coffee, and before you even finish your first sip, your car is basically full. That's not science fiction anymore. BYD just unveiled a charging system that can take an electric car from 10% to 97% in just 9 minutes. And the global auto industry is panicking. Because if this technology actually works at scale, it could completely change the future of transportation. Let's talk about it. Why this matters. For years, electric cars had one major weakness: charging time. Most people don't mind EVs themselves. They hate waiting. Even modern fast chargers usually take anywhere from 30 minutes to over an hour for a meaningful charge. That might sound acceptable on paper, but in real life, it's annoying. Road trips become stressful, apartment residents without home charging struggle, and during winter, charging gets even slower. That's why millions of drivers still refuse to switch from gasoline cars. But BYD may have just destroyed that problem overnight. At the Financial Times Future of the Car Summit in London, BYD announced its new flash charging platform. According to the company, their newest system can charge from 10% to 97% in just 9 minutes. Not 30, not 20, 9. That's approaching gasoline-level convenience. And suddenly, every major automaker looks vulnerable. How they did it. So how is BYD pulling this off? The answer is a combination of new battery technology and extremely powerful charging infrastructure. BYD is using an upgraded version of its Blade battery based on LFP chemistry, short for lithium iron phosphate. LFP batteries are already known for being safer and longer lasting than traditional lithium-ion batteries. They're harder to catch fire and can survive thousands of charging cycles. The downside used to be slower charging speeds. But BYD says it redesigned the internal battery structure to handle much higher power loads without damaging the cells. And the charging stations themselves are insane. Their new chargers reportedly deliver up to 1,500 kilowatts of power. For comparison, Tesla Superchargers typically max out around 250 kilowatts. That means BYD is operating at roughly 6 times the power. And the numbers are honestly hard to believe. According to BYD, 10 to 70% takes about 5 minutes. 10 to 97% takes about 9 minutes. Even in freezing temperatures, charging remains extremely fast. If true, this changes everything. The real threat. And here's the scary part for traditional automakers. BYD isn't slowing down. While some Western companies are cutting EV investments because sales growth weakened last year, Chinese EV makers are accelerating even harder. Just days after BYD's announcement, battery giant CATL responded with its own ultra-fast charging technology that claims a nearly full charge in around 6 minutes. This is turning into a technological arms race, and China is moving unbelievably fast. Meanwhile, companies like Volkswagen, Nissan, and Stellantis are struggling with expensive EV factories, slowing demand, and growing competition from Chinese brands. BYD is already expanding aggressively into Europe with vehicles like the Denza Z9 GT and upgraded versions of the Atto 3. And unlike traditional automakers, BYD controls huge parts of its own supply chain: batteries, software, manufacturing, and charging infrastructure. That makes them extremely difficult to compete against. Why consumers care. But honestly, the biggest winner here is probably the consumer, because charging anxiety has always been the biggest barrier to EV adoption. People can tolerate new technology. What they hate is inconvenience. But if charging your EV becomes almost as fast as filling up a gas tank, the entire argument changes. Suddenly, long-distance travel becomes easier. Apartment residents become more comfortable with EVs and winter driving becomes less stressful, and owning a gasoline car starts feeling outdated. That's why this announcement matters so much. This isn't just about a faster charger. It's about removing the final psychological barrier keeping millions of people away from electric cars. What happens next? Now, of course, there are still huge questions. Can electric grids handle this much power? How expensive will these chargers be? Will battery health actually survive years of ultra-fast charging? And most importantly, can BYD scale this globally? Because having a fast-charging car means nothing if there aren't enough fast chargers available. But BYD already says it plans to massively expand its charging network across China and internationally over the next year. So this may only be the beginning. The EV war is no longer about range. It's now about charging speed. And right now, China looks like it's winning. So what do you think? Would a 9-minute charge finally convince you to switch to an EV? Or do you still trust gasoline cars more? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more tech and EV updates.